welcome to, I think this is the 13th interview of God, Golden Glory. Today I'm here with Hannah. She played a bunch of sports in high school at Shadow Mountain, actually,
Woohoo.
and then she went on to play softball in Mississippi.
Yeah.
And yeah, so first, how'd you get into like softball? Obviously, is your main, but any of the sports,
Oh, any sport.
any of them?
I think my first team sport was when I was 3. It was like coach's pitch.
Oh,
I
yeah.
think it might have been soccer. But my first softball experience was in middle school at Shea.
Oh, nice.
And the high school coach like came over and taught us, and I just thought it was the coolest thing. And then some players as well. And he was just so excited to have me join the team. He couldn't wait till I came to Shadow, and he just took a huge interest in my life and like in my athleticism. And so I was ready to come to Shadow and play.
Yeah.
Um, and then he like tragically died right before the summer going into my freshman year. And so um, kind of from there on out, he just remained like a main focal point for me of like, I really want to play ball for him. And
Hmm.
I never met his family, like I didn't know them, but he just was super influential. And so played on a couple like local rec teams for softball, and then my first club team was my freshman year, and then that was kind of it. Just kept getting more serious into my game and learning a lot. Um, and I think it was by my like the end of my sophomore year was when I decided, I think I want to do this in college. I think that'd be pretty fun.
Yeah.
If I could get paid for it, that'd be great.
Hmm.
So,
Obviously, you got a full ride, which is
mhm,
really exciting.
yeah,
So,
it was great. It was
yeah.
great. Paid for my school. I got to leave college with money, which was how I bought my first car.
That's so rare
Yeah,
nowadays, especially. And
totally, totally. It
but
wasn't much. I think it was like 2 grand, but it was enough to get 4 wheels.
yeah. And again, as opposed to like being however much in debt you're leaving
Yeah,
with.
yeah, it was such a gift, and I didn't realize it at the time.
Mm.
So more as an adult is when I learned like, oh, this is actually really important and
Yeah.
super rad.
Um, Looking back, what do you think separates your mindset now from when you first started
Mm,
competing or in the games?
mm. I think in the thick of it, it's always like, what's next? When's the next season? When is the next like national championship? Who is the next team we're gonna play? Um, when's the next lift? Like you name it. And it's always kind of this anticipatory experience.
Yeah.
Whereas now I think it's more of like, I don't know when the next is gonna happen. Um, And so as an 18-year-old, like I have no concept of what life is like as like a 30-year-old or a
Yeah.
50-year-old. So it's hard to say, but I think if there's a way to get to rest and relish in the here and now of like, oh, I don't know when the next one might be, then I'm gonna try the best that I can and give my effort here to compete and to be a good competitor. Um, Despite not knowing like if the rest or
Yeah.
if like more reps will get to happen or not, because it's not guaranteed. So, and that you could look at spiritually or not. It's not guaranteed. I could have a life-altering injury, or God could somehow just shut the door in another way and like, okay, you're done. You don't get to play.
Yeah.
So,
One of the last interviews I had, the guy I was talking to, he said, you're living in a prayer that was answered. So it's like
mm,
your current situation is something you were praying for, hoping for. So that same kind of idea of like
hmm,
relishing it. Future isn't
yeah,
guaranteed, so just being
totally.
a
And it's so hard to think of that, like when
yeah.
you're in it.
Hmm.
And you're like, but I want the scholarship. So what do I do
Hmm.
to get the scholarship or to, um, yeah, get the title or whatever it is. So,
Yeah.
let me see if there's other thoughts I had about that. Hmm. I think the only other thing I would mention is like making it fun. Um, how like is there room for me to get to take breaks? Is there room for me to get to play a different sport? I think that's a different mindset I have now as an adult versus back then is what can like bring life back into the sport? Like, why did
Yeah,
I do this from the beginning? And how can I incorporate that again and like just make it fun? And
yeah.
sometimes that's a break, like remembering, oh yeah, my body needs time or
You're not meant to be doing 2 days on
right.
end all the
No, I
time. Yeah.
cannot be in like elite
Hmm.
physique, like physical, mental. We can't sustain that. So in the meantime, what can I do that can bring back the fun?
Yeah. Especially, I know at least for me, leading up to a competition, I'm like, I have to train hard. I have to give it all. I
Yeah.
have to do all this. And my coach is always like, remember you like this sport, right? Like
Yeah,
you choose
yeah.
to be here. Like this is
Hmm.
fun. You like this.
Yes.
But
It's important and it's
mhm,
hard. It's hard to remember that when it seems like the pressure is on.
yeah.
So, yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Um, if you had to describe your faith in one word, what would it be?
Mm. Yeah, that was such a sweet thing to think about. I thought of love. Um, and not like just I love ice cream and I love my best friend,
Yeah.
but something that's like sacrificial,
Unconditional.
unconditional, um, time consuming and depth and reciprocal. Like God wants me to engage with him in the same way that he wants me to, or he wants to engage with me. So it's like, oh man, I don't know if I've ever experienced a human relationship to that extent. And so the sweetness that God gives, like brings in that, I'm like, oh, that's love. Man,
Yeah.
what's that like? As best as I can
Mhm.
understand it, bodily, mentally, emotionally, love.
That's beautiful.
Thanks.
Can you tell me a little bit about your faith background? Like, how were you raised? How'd you come to your beliefs?
Mm, man, that I could talk for like an hour about that one. Uh, I think kind of high level, grew up in like a single parent home and there's a lot of dysfunction, but my mom did a great job of instilling love, like love for myself, love for my siblings, love for people in general. I don't know if it was really rooted in Christ. I think that would be for my mom to get to share her testimony, um, but it was nonetheless like we need to care and we need to love.
Hmm.
And so then I got to high school, actually, I got to shadow and I met some Christians and I met some LDS. And so my faith, I think, was kind of getting shaped more as like morality. I was
Hmm.
terrified of getting in trouble.
Yeah.
I wanted to please authority. Mr. Story could probably tell you about that. Um, and so it was just like, it was a mercy of God that he wanted and I desired to go to like a Christian university. Um, and so I remember there was one mother who decided to introduce the book of John in the Bible to me and my sister. And that was the first time that I ever sat down with somebody that I can remember who really took effort and time to explain who Jesus was of the Bible um and like what he stood for. And so then my freshman year at college, um freshman year in college, I met a baseball player who used to evangelize a lot and like told a lot of classmates about Jesus. And I thought, huh, like I love Christ. He loves Christ. I don't do the same things as he's doing. So what's that about? And so I remember talking with him, asking him, like, we believe the same God, but like your behaviors are really different than mine. So can you tell me more about it? And yeah, I got to read Revelation 4, which is where John gets to like look into the heavens and he's just mesmerized by God and like his brilliance. And I was like, wait, that's who I'm saying I'm worshiping,
Yeah.
uh, as opposed to just like doing right from wrong. I was like, okay, I want that God. And I want to tell people about that God. And so my freshman year, I think it became more relational instead of just doing right from wrong. Um, and I could go on, but my sophomore year, like I learned about international missions. And so then I just grew a heart for different cultures, languages, food. um, and then it wasn't until I was an adult where I tasted suffering for the first, like legitimate suffering for the first time. And so then um, that was my first experience with like a suffering Jesus. And I think that just made the depth of my salvation all the more like richer and more dependent on him instead of just like we're pals.
Mhm.
So,
So you had grown up in athletics
mhm.
and came to faith a little later. How did your relationship with athletics change as you grew deeper in your faith?
Hmm. I think my short answer, I wasn't an All-American my last 2 years of college. I was my first 2 years, and I think that I think I had more of like a long-term perspective of like my salvation is not on the line. Um, so why bother about this at bat? Or
Mm.
like why bother? I wasn't lazy, but you wouldn't see me in the batting cage as frequently as I used to be. Um, so I think that changed. I think in my 18, 20-year-old brain, it was like, okay, if God's for real, then like my sport doesn't matter anymore. And so I
Yeah.
kind of like took a back seat. But I think I was a lot more vocal with my teammates, like my junior and senior year as well of college, sharing with them like why I'm reading my Bible in between games or like why I'm going for a walk in the outfield by myself to just like go talk with God. Um, Whereas before it was such like a me focused relationship with God instead of, oh, I could tell people about this.
Yeah.
So, like the whole reason that baseball player introduced me to Jesus, like, let's go tell people about Jesus. So, yeah. Does that answer the question?
Yeah.
Okay.
Um, how did, obviously you said walk in the outfield, how did your religion show up in day-to-day training?
Mm. Uh, yeah, I read my Bible pretty frequently. In between games, we always would play two games when we would go to a school. And so, always would read in between. I'd go for walks. Um, a lot of times I listened to like Christian music, which we weren't cool. Like we didn't have Forrest Frank back then. So I remember listening to a lot of like David Crowder. Um, he was like one of my top guys, or Jeremy Camp, like he was another a big guy that I listened to. Um, mm, Something that's so ridiculous. I actually brought them with me, my batting gloves.
Mhm.
So I wrote scripture on each batting glove, and it's ridiculous looking back now, but every pitch I would look at my gloves and I would remind myself of like the big picture of what I was doing. And sometimes umpires would get annoyed and like, all right, come on, like we need a hit. And I'm like, just wait a second, this is my time with the Lord.
Yeah.
But they didn't care. So that was another way that, yeah, my faith would show up. Um, just trying to like refocus myself.
Were there routines, prayers, or rituals you used before games? Obviously, you said writing on your hands, Bible, all that kind of stuff, but
Hmm. Um, hmm, I always took a nap driving to the game. It'd be like 10 a.m. and I had just woken up and I'd still be like, I need my nap. That was, I think, both a physical and like a spiritual
mm,
um, habit that I did. And then every drive home from a game, I would like do my homework or journal or whatever it was. But those were rhythms that I did during that time. Um, And then I think, yeah, just like I mentioned, I became more vocal about my faith with my teammates. So it was interesting though, because a lot of times, like if they played bad, given it was a team sport. So they would ask me to pray for them. And I thought, cool, what an honor. But at the same time, it was really hard to not make God a genie.
Mm.
Like, God, we are working our tail off, therefore you should be blessing us. Or um, my friend is really struggling, like batting, like have mercy on her. And then if that didn't get fulfilled, it'd be like,
What's up with
where's my,
God?
yeah,
Yeah.
where's God? Like, why aren't you fulfilling my dream? So I think kind of wrestling with that was a little bit part of the game too for me.
Yeah, I get that a lot.
Mm-hmm.
When preparing for a competition, what role does faith play in your mindset?
Can you tell me what number this is?
8.
8. When preparing.
Yeah, so just the
Hmm.
extra tough practices where everything sucks. You don't want to do it.
It all hurts.
It all hurts.
I'm tired of waking up early.
Yeah. The sport I do is
You're jujitsu, right?
mhm.
Okay.
But the best thing about it, there's no running because I loved playing softball.
Okay.
I did play your freshman year,
Yeah.
but the conditioning drills,
Oh, yeah.
I could do without.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's funny. Uh, yeah, I think like I said earlier, it almost my kind of black or white thinking was like because Jesus matters more to me now, I guess softball won't matter.
mm,
Instead of looking at it as like softball gets to be a conduit of
yeah.
how I represent Jesus, I saw it as I'll just kind of back off.
Hmm.
But for better or for worse, I think it also helped my teammates see like, oh, she's for real. I've seen her now for like 3 or 4 years doing this. Um, and so I did get a lot more questions. I got a lot more like interaction with my teammates. But like I joked earlier, I wasn't an All-American my junior and senior year. I won different awards, which was a like cherry on the top. But uh, yeah, I think I backed off a little bit too.
Yeah. I think that's one of the debates, not debate, but like hard to balance. Like you do need to work hard in your sport. Not that you're, again, not that you're being lazy, but like you need to work hard, but also put it in God. And it's just a very hard thing to balance
Mhm.
for religious athletes, I think.
Totally. Yeah, and it's remembering like, okay, the short term, I want to win this.
Yeah.
I want to compete
Hmm.
and I'm going to be fiercely competitive, whether that's to myself or it's vocal. But also remembering the long term, like
Hmm.
salvation, my heart posture. Those are things that God cares about.
Yeah.
He cares about if I win and lose, but I think it's more of,
Oh, interesting. And then moving on, kind
yeah,
of.
yeah,
Mhm.
like where's my heart in the middle of that?
Yeah.
So,
How do your beliefs help with pressure, nerves, or setbacks?
mm, I laughed at this question too. Honestly, I didn't get nervous that much. So this was a hard question for me to answer. I can remember like 2 times in my whole career of actually being nervous. Um, my high school softball coach told me one time, you need to just relax your butt. And I was like, what? Because I was nervous in high school. I felt a lot of pressure in high school to perform very well. And he's like, relax your butt. Okay. And so, honest to goodness, like that's what I did the rest of my career. And it was this like, okay, whatever the outcome is, like I'm relaxed and I am like ready to play. And so, um, that has nothing to do spiritually. That like is so out there. But it helped me perform. It helped me to like in clutch situations, I wanted to be the player that made something happen. And a lot of times I came through and sometimes I didn't, but yeah, it's just a hard question to answer. Because I didn't really feel like I got nervous much.
Really quick, how often were your guys' games? Were you having one like once a week, once or twice a week?
Oh no. So springtime, just like here, is when we would play, and we would play like 70 games in maybe 80 games with tournaments and stuff
Yeah.
between like February and the beginning of May. So
Yeah.
it wasn't uncommon to be playing like 6 to 8 games a week,
Wow.
maybe.
Yeah. I think this question is also a little different because I'm asking it, most of the people I'm talking to are jiu-jitsu people, where it's
Mm,
like you might have a competition once every 2 months.
got
So
it.
it's like
Okay.
definitely something that's more you're building up. This is
Yes,
for thing.
anticipation.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like I worked for 2 months on this, but
Yeah.
obviously your situation's a little different.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
But
totally. But I got nervous, like one of the times I remember was when I played for the national championship
yeah.
and um yeah, I was like, huh, this is a big game.
Hmm.
But yeah, again, it was like I was pretty nonchalant about it. It was like whatever the outcome is gonna be, it's gonna be, and
Yeah.
I want to kick butt. Uh, but I have no idea how that outcome is gonna unfold. So
Yeah.
yeah, I am grateful for I ran track as a little kid and I
Mm.
remember that feeling of the anticipation. No way.
It's the word.
Yeah, no.
Yeah. And I travel to compete, so I'm competing more than most people, but it's
Hmm.
still like maybe 2 competitions a month.
Mm.
So it's like, oh man.
Yeah, no thanks.
Yeah.
No thanks.
Has there been a moment where faith carried you through injury, doubts, loss?
Mm, yeah. So my senior year here at Shadow, um, I destroyed my ankle
Mm,
and it was the first day of tryouts. And so I was like, huh, I don't get to play. And I don't know if I'm about to lose my scholarship.
were you already
I was already signed. Yeah, I'd
mhm,
already committed. And so I remember wailing and weeping with the trainer who was here at the time, um, just terrified, like if that was it.
yeah.
And and then fast forward, I had gotten an injury my sophomore year of college with my wrist, and it hit kind of a climactic in my senior year of college as well.
Mm,
So it was like deja vu. Um, and again, I remember like, am I going to be able to keep playing? Because this pain is intolerable. And the doctors, like at my university, really didn't know what was going on. And so it was just kind of steroid shot after steroid shot.
yeah.
Um, of course, I didn't lose my scholarship. I kept playing my senior year of college after all these injections. I don't recommend that. Um, and I think just during that time, I don't think I really cared about spiritual growth. I don't think I cared about the journey. I think I was so focused on, I don't want to lose my money. I don't want to lose my opportunity to keep playing. Um, again, it's just so much of that like nearsightedness.
Yeah.
It's easier to like hindsight as an adult. Um, so it was, I remember the wrestle was hard, but I don't remember having this like massive dependency on God during that time. I think I demanded more of God than anything. Like I want to keep playing and
Mm.
I want this to be the way that I want it. And God, you should adhere to my wants. Um, I think God can handle that. I don't think that's the heart posture though that he's probably wanting from me. I'm not sure how to really say that. I think he can
Yeah.
handle it, but also, again, like I just did care about the journey. I didn't care about how this was like refining me or producing different character in me.
Yeah.
So, I think it was more of selfish, like, I want what I want and I want to keep playing. So,
Hmm.
God, you better make this happen. But now looking back, I'm like, what a mercy. I got to keep playing.
Yeah.
What a mercy. I did not lose my scholarship. Um, what a mercy that like my wrist and ankle are not destroyed today. Like
Yeah.
I can keep running, I can keep competing, I can do the things that I enjoy doing even today. So I think that's all just like a mercy of God, despite my demanding of him.
It almost sounds like a teenager and their parent,
Oh,
like,
yes.
I hate you. Blah, blah, blah.
Yes. Oh yeah, God and I, we go way back into some of those teenager experiences. Yeah, that's a great way of saying it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Because I also think, um, obviously my sport's a little different, but
Mhm.
you have like the time periods is like, oh, practice or season started. I have until this to whether I'm going to keep my scholarship or not. So it's like there's that time stress as well
Mhm.
that some athletes also aren't facing. I
Mhm.
think adds to that and well, just makes the whole situation really
Totally.
chaotic.
Yeah. Yeah.
When you win, how do you connect faith to that victory?
Oh yeah, these were your last two questions. So I kind of coupled them together.
Fantastic.
Um, and I thought they were really interesting because to me, those questions assumed that I was only thinking about the here and now versus like long term.
Hmm.
Um, so that was just like a little tidbit that I had thought about. I think whether I won, whether I lost as a team, as an individual with my at bats or whatever it was, I thank God that he is not a God who's contingent on those. Otherwise, like I would be serving a very wobbly God.
Yeah.
And I'm grateful that he's not wobbly. And so, um, yeah, I'll just see what I wrote. Um, I think this question would have been interesting to ask me also as an 18-year-old. But I think sometimes with a win, a lot of times what I will hear athletes say is like, "Oh, that wasn't me, that was God."
Hmm.
And I'm like, I definitely want to take, like, I want to have a healthy pride with that. Like,
Yeah.
no, I did wake up really early and I have been lifting weights for a long time.
Hmm.
And um, I have been in the batting cage for a long time, like
Yeah.
hitting. And so I think it's this weird balance of like, how do I get to have this healthy pride and like being proud of myself for my effort
Hmm.
and also acknowledging God without having this like egotistical mindset. Um, what's that mean?
School's out.
For summer.
Stop. I'll
Oh,
edit all this out.
okay, okay. I think it's interesting too, like as women, I think that a lot of times, like as female athletes, we're not allowed to be excited for our victories.
Mhm.
Or like we have to be really docile and um cautious. And so whether I win or lost, like I wanted to be proud of myself for like the effort that I put forth
Mhm.
and the ability that I got to demonstrate like through my sport.
Yeah.
Um, and I think that's why my batting gloves helped settle me. And I think that's why I did it after every single pitch. Because it was like salvation's not on the line, it's just a ball or a strike or a hit.
Yeah.
And so getting to look at it from that perspective, it was like, have fun, hit the crap out of the ball when you can,
Hmm.
um, be a good competitor and enjoy the ability because like I said earlier, I don't know when it's going to ever end.
Yeah.
Um, so let's see if I wrote anything else down. Mm, yeah, I mean, I think the last piece I would just mention about that is, like I'd said earlier too, of God cares about my posture and my heart, and whether that showed up as a win or a loss. I think it was more of the after fact, like aftermath of the performance of
Hmm.
how was I showing up for myself and for my teammates. Like, can I be consistent after a win or after a loss? Does Hannah show up in the same way? But again, this would have been a great question to ask like a 20-year-old Hannah. So,
Is there a moment or story we haven't touched on that best shows how religion and athletics intersect for you?
mm, I couldn't think of anything. I think the only thing that's coming to my mind right now is uh, continuing to compete is a fun thing as an adult. And so it looks differently than it did when I was in high school or in college. But uh, like I said earlier, God's not wobbly. And so even though my body is different than it was as an 18-year-old and my abilities are different, it's fun to get to play and to compete. And and to still have my faith not be wobbly despite however my performance is showing up.
Yeah. And really quick, can you say what you do?
My profession?
Yeah.
Yes. So I'm a mental health counselor. I've specialized in trauma, addictions, and like general mental health concerns. Uh, and then some of my clientele are athletes, actually, and so I love getting to work with that type of person and get to incorporate that into the care with them.
From like that perspective, why do you think there's such a like correlation between high level athletes and religion? Because I feel like I often see some of the best athletes, they also have a very spiritual life. Why
Hmm.
do you have any opinions on that?
Of why like
Yeah.
top performing athletes are
Mhm.
religious?
Yeah.
Hmm. I think it helps put things in perspective, like that long term versus the short term. I think it's also like a thing of hope. Religion gives us hope.
Yeah.
And so whatever religious background you come from, but as a Christian, like I get to have hope that's different than every other world religion. And so if I get to really lean into that and be a competitor, I think it just puts things into perspective. Like I get to have fun and I get to engage in this sport and like give it my all. And at the end of the day, there is a God who adores me despite whatever the outcome is. And so I think in some ways it could still like take that pressure off of us, which is maybe why we like compete so fiercely.
Yeah.
I have no idea. Do you have any thoughts about that?
Just that, and again, the idea that there's a bigger picture,
Mm,
but also knowing that it's like I really like the idea. I don't know if you've like seen the video where it's talking about like if you're gonna miss the bus, you pray to God that you can catch it, but then you run as fast as you can. So I think it's like the
mm,
combination of like I'm still gonna work my butt off. I'm still
mm,
gonna put everything I can forward, but ultimately the final say is up to God. So it's
mm,
like you can do your best, but ultimately it's out of your hands, if that
mm.
makes sense. I
Yeah.
think there's comfort in that as well. But
Yeah, it's that pressure. It's like,
yeah,
I get to just like play and be a
exactly.
competitor.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks for asking. Thank you
Thank
for the
you.
interview.
Yeah, thank you so much for doing
You're
this.
welcome.
This was 13th interview of God, Gold, and Glory.